And we are back. We say that every time, but this time we're back on a Thursday, which you all should know that this is our weekend, our last day. So we'll be going into the weekend talking about all of the things that are going on. Football starting tonight in the NFL. Obviously, some big Sunday games coming up. The college bowl season starts up this weekend, two on Saturday, starting off with Ohio and Georgia Southern, and then some HBCU Celebration Bowl football between Florida A&M and Howard. So I don't know if we'll talk about that, but just let you know that it's out there. Anyway.
Let me just throw this out there. And tonight is the ladies volleyball NCAA Final Four.
I was going to mention that for you, man.
I mentioned that because there's jokes out there. People bring signs. Nebraska's a volleyball school. Yep. So fuck it. Nebraska volleyball, #1 in the nation. They play tonight. Try and get to the championship game. They've only lost one game all year. Get it done, Lady Huskers.
Yeah, and they have a record following coming to this game as well, from what I heard. So, hey, why wouldn't it be after what they did at home with that huge-ass crowd this past season for volleyball? So, yeah, good luck to the Lady Huskers as they try to go win the big one.
People want to try and throw shade at us, make a joke of it. Fuck that. I'm embracing it. Go Lady Huskers.
Hey, it's a big deal. I guess, especially in Nebraska, man, if the football team isn't doing good or doing well, you go after whatever sport is doing well, whether it's baseball, whether it's volleyball, whatever the hell it is. But what they've done wasn't just your average, just winning winning games. They've broken records, whether it was the attendance record of over 90,000 this year at a volleyball game, bro.
Yeah, they filled the football stadium.
Come on,
so, and because the volleyball court doesn't take up as much real estate as the football field during the football game, they were able to get more people into the stadium.
Yeah, it was like a concert. They just had the concert. The stage was out there. They played on it. But yeah, Lady Huskers going at it. They're in the Final Four right now, looking for a championship. But before they can get that championship, we have so much to talk about with this nonsense that we even talked about yesterday. Draymond Green still in the news, still nonsense. But I think a good decision was made.
Because the suspension came through. And I got to say, I think the NBA got it right.
Yes.
As long as they stick to it. If he comes back after 6 games, well, no, they didn't stick to it, in my opinion. Because for him to get the help he needs and to turn his mindset around or whatever it is going on, it's going to take more than 10 days.
Yeah.
Right? So I'm expecting him. He'll probably be out close to a month, in my opinion, because if I'm Adam Silver, if I'm Joe Dumars, and whoever convened to come to this conclusion or decision to make his suspension indefinite, you have to really show me you're going through the process. You're going to anger management or whatever parameters they set. It's not like a one-time visit. Right? You have to show true change.
Now, as this goes, I think they may turn this into a mental health issue. I'm not going to try to mock it if it isn't or is, but I mean, could they make this a mental health issue so that it kind of takes the sting over what he has done? He has done this so often. So if that's the case, and they've seen him do it, and he's had so many infractions over his entire career, could you say, or is it fair to say that he's had these mental health issues all this time and they completely ignored it?
I don't think so. You think back to Ron Artest, aka Meta World Peace.
Yeah.
Like we always knew he was a little off, right?
Yes.
So when he did things, we were like, well, that's Meta World Peace. Draymond, we never thought of him being off. He says he's trying to sell a car. Going back to Sabonis, he was trying to sell the car, but he's like, you know what? Take that too. You're going to grab my leg, but let me stomp on you while I'm at it. He was selling the car, but then he couldn't stop himself from taking a cheap shot. That's where the problem lies.
Yeah, that's true. But I don't know what the issue is with him. And now there are reactions, not just from us, but other people out there talking about sports or even just talking mainstream news, because it made mainstream news. But then other players, people who are in the NBA, Kevin Durant in particular, a former teammate who he had beef with as well when he was there and when they played together in Golden State. He's talking about him getting the help that he needs. He says he's never acted like that before. I've never known him to be that kind of a guy. Really? I mean, he was kind of that kind of guy with you. We don't know what happened behind closed doors.
It wasn't physical though.
That we know of. No, it wasn't physical. But the Jordan Poole issue, that's physical. And it seems like every time things come down to it, he's being physical.
I think we talked about it in the summertime, or at some point we were saying each incident gets worse and worse.
It does.
And worse. And so I don't know. Like, do you think he choking somebody would be the extent he'd go? But he even crossed that line, in my opinion, with this roundhouse.
You know what? Yeah, for people who might have missed it, I think you might have been living under a rock if you've missed that roundhouse that he had done. I'll throw a little thing out here on the clip, a little fair use right here to check it out. I mean, for the
such a great passer.
Fields has picked up his third foul. And now Green runs over Nurkic, and he'll be called for the foul. And they're going to take a look at this.
Nurkic wasn't doing nothing.
See, Jason Goebel indicating they will go to the monitor here. Nurkic is down in a heap.
He grabbed my hip.
Green just plows right over Nurkic.
Grab my hip. So you throw a roundhouse?
We'll see if there's anything unnecessary added to it.
Bro,
I won't even say he grabbed his hip. What's he supposed to do?
Now they're going to just try to decide if they think it was excessive.
Excessive.
It's going to be at least a flavor.
That's assault,
could
man.
be a 2.
Which would be an ejection. Boy, that is a swipe across the face.
Green makes unnecessary and excessive contact to the face. The foul has been upgraded to a flagrant foul penalty 2, and Green has been ejected from the game.
There you go.
Shoot.
Yeah, I mean, I could kind of understand if he gave him a good forearm shiver in the back, or he's excessively shoving him with his forearm and elbow.
He did nothing.
Exactly. He didn't do anything to instigate it.
Man, the way he came at him, man, that's assault right there. You know what? You listen to the commentators because they didn't really see it because it wasn't focused on them. The ball was moving around. But then it was like, well, he runs him over. They just see him laying down. So they figured Draymond Green ran him over, whatever way he ran him over. They see the video. Then they're like, whoa, they changed their whole tone. Come on, man. And you needed to. He destroyed him with that shot. I mean, it was practically a punch with an open hand.
Yeah, it was. But if you go back to the incident in the finals, I can understand that one. LeBron walked over him, rubbed his nuts on his head, and he just reacted, hey, man, get the fuck off me. Like, any man would do that.
Yeah.
So that I don't have a problem with that. The problem with 2016 was all his stupid technicals that led up to that required him being suspended. But these other incidents, Sabonis, as I already mentioned, that was an intentional cheap shot. Choking out Gobert, I don't even know what he was thinking there. You grab the guy, put your arms around his chest, you grab him that way. You don't put him in a chokehold and drag him 10 feet back. I don't know. He's just, I said then he's out of control. And now the rest of the world is starting to say, yeah, he's out of control.
I think the rest of the world already knew. It's just a new episode every time. Everything's
a clip. He had a lot of apologists.
You know what he did?
He came to his teammates' defense. Yeah, but there's a way to do it. Not with an MMA move.
Man, I don't know what the deal is with him mentally or what's going on. And you know what? And Nurkic, to his credit, man, says he still respects him. That's that Euro thing, man, that they can respect you in your game and still respect you as a person. He said, I respected him before that. I think he's a future Hall of Famer. And, I still respect him now. Even after that, I don't like that it happened, but he still kept on talking about how he still respects him now. Man, I mean, I don't think other players, I don't think fans really respect him too much now after that. I mean, for the little fans he had left, who you said were his apologists for the most part, I don't know if they can stay on board with the conscience.
Yeah, I don't think anybody's defending him now. Hopefully he gets the help he needs. He obviously needs some kind of help.
He needs some kind of help, man, or get out of the league. It's that simple, man. Leave. I mean, it's not that simple actually, but
you would think when he stomped on Sabonis and he missed a playoff game, somebody sat him down and said, "Look, we know he grabbed your leg, but you stomped on him. You can't do that. sell the call a different way without taking the cheap shot. Somebody had to tell him that. Yeah. Somebody, or he should already fucking know that.
He's been in so many issues already throughout his entire career. It's been more now of late. He's starting off the season doing all this nonsense. Now he's going to get suspended for a little bit of time. I mean, relative to the rest of the season, if he's not getting suspended for the entire season, he's getting suspended for just a little bit of time. And I don't, like you said, but how long is it going to take before they can feel satisfied knowing he got the so-called help that he needs to not act the way he's been acting, not just this season, but throughout his entire career? Obviously, he thinks it's okay because he continues to do it. And if he thinks that's okay, something is wrong with him.
Yeah, how we said the other day, like he just came off a suspension.
Yeah.
He cannot, that shows you he's out of control. He can't control himself.
And that rhetoric that he comes with, I'm still going to be myself. Man, who you are is not a good thing right now, especially for you, right. The NBA, for anyone's image. It's not a good thing. It's not a good move for him to continue to just stand on his pride and tell you how much I'm still going to be me regardless. No one's going to, that's kind of what he's coming out there with. And look at the result. You know, he might, I don't know, man. He didn't get kicked out of the league, but I think it was a smart move, not putting a number on it, just saying indefinitely. So when people continue to ask, all Adam Silver has to continue to say is, well, we'll see. Well, we'll see.
He's working towards it. He's
working towards it, exactly. And definite was better than any number they could have put on it because they would have been blowback from any big number anyway, regardless of what he's done. If you said 25 games like John Morant got, somebody would have complained. If you said 5 games, somebody's going to complain. So you don't say anything and just let it go step by step. Have your ready-made cookie-cutter reason for why he's not playing every time it's asked.
Even if they gave him 12 games, 12, 15 games, or you say 25, there's no guarantee that he won't do it again because he's like, I'll sit out the 12 when I come back. I'm Draymond. I'm going to do what I'm going to do. But him, with it being an indefinite suspension, now he knows he can only come back under certain conditions.
Yep.
And that's why I say the NBA got it right.
Yeah, they got it right. It seems like on the surface because I don't have any idea, and I'm not going to act like I have an idea of how their CBA goes. You know, what can they do? What can they not do? All that, how long they can do it. I don't know anything about that as it pertains to their CBA, the collective bargaining agreement. But man, ultimately, when he gets back, is he a ticking time bomb? Or if something else did happen, or are refs going to look more for even the smallest thing when he gets back? I would have thought they were at that point now to begin with, looking for just anything. But he's giving them more than enough to look at. It's not a little thing they have to look for. It's right before their eyes, and it's flagrant every time.
Yeah, that we'll just have to wait and see, you know. But I foresee players agitating him, going at him a little bit. Run down court, just give him a little bump. You know, just something to annoy him, get under his skin. And they're going to test him. He's going to be tested.
But let's go back to what you were saying yesterday. Look who he's picking on. He's not going after the big dogs in the game. He's going after these Euros and guys who don't fight back or don't have reputations of fighting back so far. So if one of those other dogs go out there and start doing that kind of thing to him on the slide, you know, he might give them a look, but might not want to start the altercation, you know, and then he'll be looked at as if he's getting punked. And then he may go to another area to where it shouldn't be allowed in basketball. And then we have a big mess that may come really affect his career.
But what's funny is if you watch NBA highlights last night, the Bucks and Pacers had an incident. And that wasn't even a hard foul on Giannis, but I would say he deserved it after he gave Halliburton the forearm shiver. And that was totally uncalled for. All Halliburton did was go make a dunk. He's trying to run that court. And Giannis gave him the business. But to Giannis's credit, he gave them the business back. Dropping 64.
The business, boy. Giannis got them last night. What, 64 points?
Yeah, 64. He left the game with 58. They brought him back in.
Just to break the record.
And then they want to know why the Pacers are taking the game ball away. Man, you're going to run it up on us.
Did you hear their excuse for taking the ball? Because Oscar Schubert had
his first points.
Bro, he had 1 point. That's it. 1 point. And you think that's worth giving him a game ball when someone just scored 64 points in their own
If he
house?
asked for
That's
it,
a franchise record.
that might be his only point of his entire career, for all we know.
He was
Give
a
me
hell
that
of a
ball.
rebound at Kentucky, though.
Give me that ball, man. I might not score again.
I mean, I thought that was the lamest excuse, though. He just scored.
It was, and there's video of them saying,
there's video. That was deliberate.
There's video of them saying, "You ain't getting the ball back. Don't give him the fucking ball, man. No, you ain't getting the ball back."
That was lame, and that was deliberate.
It's hilarious to me, man.
It's hilarious as hell because it's so lame. You're talking about a player who's pretty incidental on the team, and he's getting 1 point. Bro, he got 1 point, and you're like, you know what?
Then they gave him a ball, and Giannis is like, I know it's not the game ball. I know what the game ball felt like, man. This don't feel brand new.
This is a damn skit, man. Giannis is like, well, you know what? He touched the ball so damn much, had such a high percentage from the field. He probably does know the specific ball he used playing last night. You know, he had it in his hand and line and made things happen with it. But yeah, man, I just thought that even bigger than that, or funnier than that, or more odd than all of that was the excuse they used for a player who had 1 point and you wanted to give him the game ball on the freaking road. Come on, man. After an iconic day like that.
Again, it may not make sense to you, but if that's me, I might not play again if I never get it.
Play again?
I'm just saying, give me that ball, man.
Holy crap. On a night like that, where the main man on the home team puts up numbers like that, he owns 2 of the 3 records, the top 3 records in that franchise's history. He needs that game ball. And they put him out there specifically to break the record. He needs the game ball. You're going to talk about a 1 point damn game. Bro, I mean, that just sounded so funny to me. I laughed more at that than just the entire morass they claimed to have because of what had happened throughout the game. But yeah, man. But hey, Giannis came to play, boy. No question about that.
Mm-hmm.
Man,
I still haven't seen the highlights. I got the Bleacher Report notification. I'm like, dang, he dropped 58, and then like the headline made it seem like he was done for the night, and then 10 minutes later says Giannis dropped 64. I'm like, well, why'd you send the notification you have 58 if he's still going?
The highlight I saw was him running back out of the locker room trying to get the ball. Beefing with Halliburton. But yo, that was funny, man. That dude was serious about it too, man. He came like he was gonna an empty bench brawl was about to happen, and he came out of the locker room like that.
He was a little heated.
He was heated. He ran out of that locker room like the Ultimate Warrior used to come to the freaking ring. WF back in the day. But yeah, man. Hey, you put up those kind of numbers, man. He's still one of the elite players, if not top 3 player in the NBA still. And because of this kind of game this early in the season, I mean, you don't want to talk about who.
Did you see Bobby Portis?
No, I didn't.
When Giannis got kind of tossed down, the play what I was referring to earlier, he was in the lane, he was going up for a shot, he got grabbed and held down as he's trying to go up. So he got kind of twisted and went down, but the guy's trying to hold him up. Like he didn't intend to throw him down. He wasn't doing a Lambeer or Anthony Mason. And then Bobby Portis coming, man. His eyes were like this. Bobby
Portis has those big eyes anyway.
Bobby Portis, he got traded from the Bulls for stealing on somebody. So Bobby Portis don't play. Draymond won't fuck with him. I guarantee you that.
Sure, I bet. Especially in basketball when people are just so busy mean mugging guys and hoping nothing else happens from it. This is one of those guys who wants to smoke.
Like some guys, you don't know. They act like they want to smoke. You know for sure Bobby Portis wants that smoke.
Yeah.
No doubt.
There are a handful of people in the NBA that look like they want that smoke. I mean, some people looking pretty innocuous, like, well, Jokic doesn't look like he wanted any smoke, but when things went down with the Morris brothers, he wanted smoke, and his brothers wanted it, and I don't think the rest of the Miami Heat, even though they waited outside the locker room after the game, they didn't want it. They just had to save face. That was it. Mm-hmm. Yo, basketball is hot right now, man. This isn't normally the time when it's really that hot. It's still in headlines from the NFL. We're talking tonight. There's the Los Angeles Chargers, doesn't even sound right, and the Las Vegas Raiders playing. The Raiders coming off that 3-0 loss. Man, this is not even a game worth watching when you look at Justin Herbert not even playing this year. The rest of the year, he had surgery on his finger, so that's out of it. But just before we get on to football, basketball, John Morant coming back after the next 2 games. There are 23 games that have been played. He has a 25-game suspension that he's serving. 2 more games makes 25. He comes back on the 3rd game. Are you expecting? I've already said it. I don't think they are a John Morant away from being competitive like they've been in the past couple of years. I think it's a nice story if he can do something, but they're not. I don't believe they're going to the playoffs just because he's back.
Who knows? Because it doesn't look like the Warriors are going to make the playoffs. So there's one team that most people counted that probably won't, and so that opens up a spot, right? Whether it's a play-in spot or not.
Yeah.
He still has to get back into game shape.
Yep.
Get his win back, his endurance, and all of that. I'm sure he'll have a positive impact on the team, but I'm with you. I don't see him making that much of an impact where they're just going to turn the season around.
Yeah, a couple of years ago, he had gotten hurt and was out, and the team started winning without him. That's not the case this time around.
Not the same team either.
It's not the same team. Exactly. It's not the same team either. But you know,
and they're still missing Steven Adams. So
yeah, still missing Steven Adams for the rest of the season with his injury. But back then, though, it was a matter of people thinking, because when he did come back, they started losing, and there were fans at courtside saying, "Man, you should have stayed off the field. You stayed off the court." They were mocking him. But then, as it turns out, you always get that kind of thing. Even though he's the star player on that team, you're still going to get the nonsense from fans when they think it should have gone one way or another. But the reality was, when he was out, it forced those other unsung heroes to really step up their game, but they were only able to do it for a limited amount of time, whereas a true star player does it for the majority of the season, if not all the season. So when those guys came back down to earth, well, they needed Ja to fill that gap again, and that's what he did, and he moved on and things and got his big contract because of it. Desmond Bane also got his big contract because he had shown up in times like that.
Yeah.
I thought they had a nice core, and they did, but look now.
Let's just hope Ja comes back with no incidents. Off the court, because he hasn't had any incident.
He has to learn his lesson, bro.
Yeah,
he had to have learned his. I can't imagine him doing something stupid. I think he might even overdo it, being a good guy coming back from his suspension. I just can't imagine him just no.
So I saw in the interview Michael Jai White. They're asking him about Tupac and how he got mixed up with Suge Knight and the Bloods and blah blah, and he's like, Tupac was a hell of an actor, man. He was a hell of an actor. He was no gangster.
I've heard that so often, man. I've heard that.
And so I say that to say this. John Morant, you're no gangster.
Oh,
go back to your real personality.
I don't think we need reassurance with him. We know he's not.
Go back to your real personality.
I mean, exactly. The seemingly humble guy that wasn't on camera, but now is on camera, and he's doing everything but being humble. Maybe something like this has humbled him, and now when he get his opportunity, he's going to be the job that we kind of fell for, not just because of the gambling he did for me back in the college days, but because he was that extraordinary talent that everybody kind of liked because of his game, and it reminded them in some cases of being another AI. Man, not even AI did this kind of nonsense. But yeah, hopefully Ja gets it right. He comes back, entertains everyone, helps the Grizzlies in the process. This season may not be a lost season, but next year and for the rest of his career, he could, if he's staying with the Grizzlies for either all or most of that time, he can make some huge things happen for them. I mean, that's all I can look for right now from him.
And you know what? Missing the playoffs this year may actually help them. They get a lottery pick.
Yeah.
Get a high draft pick and another player to go along with Bane and Morant. I don't know how much Steven Adams will have left when he comes back.
True.
But, they'll have an all season to replace him if needed. They still got some good talent there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, they still
getting another baller would only help.
I thought they were the team to beat last year in terms of young teams. In fact, they had a real chance of moving on further in the NBA playoffs, because of the team that they've had. But now I look at in terms of this young talent, I had Minnesota up there, but Oklahoma City was my number one team, and then Orlando.
Minnesota.
Yeah, I had Minnesota initially.
You got to talk about something.
What, with Minnesota? No, initially, no, because I had Oklahoma City.
Finish your point, and then I'll talk about
I had Oklahoma City, and going into this season at least, I had Oklahoma City. Then I had Orlando, but then I thought about, damn, Minnesota also has that young core, man. Come on, I mean, they should be in that mix as well, especially after the way they played last season. But here we are now; they're not playing or continuing to show that progress that either OKC or even Orlando is showing right now in the early going.
So Minnesota, who leads Minnesota? Anthony Edwards.
Anthony Edwards,
right?
yeah.
Why are all these young guys always talking about they can cook Michael?
Mike hasn't played in
He
how
played
long?
in 20-some years, right? Bro, Anthony Edwards, you averaged 24 points a game in the soft NBA.
Yep.
If you were dropping, when Harden was averaging 35, 36, and he said Jordan couldn't guard me, he probably was right. Because not a lot of people could guard him because he will flop for fouls and his traveling step back that they never called traveling on and whatever. But he still averaged 35. When you average 24 and there's like 19 guys in the league averaging more than you are, bro, don't talk about Michael and you cooking him. Come on, man.
And Mike actually played defense. Come
Right.
on now. We have guys today who almost refuse to play defense as
I mean,
clause in the contract.
This is the same guy that in the playoffs last year will play his ass off for the first 3 quarters and then kind of disappear in the fourth quarter. Well, what happened?
It really matters.
Who's locking you up? Austin Reeves?
Bro, I don't know why these people try to find clout or try to gain clout by calling out either Michael, even some of the other old school guys to make their point. You have enough guys here today in today's NBA, even some of the older guys who might not be around long, to compare yourself to. I think, go ahead and do something like that. Talk about how you might play against Giannis or somebody, you know what I mean? How you play against KD or even Steph.
It's just dumb, man. You never heard Jordan say, Jerry West couldn't guard me, or Barkley saying,
not publicly.
I can't even think of dudes. Bill Russell couldn't guard me. Why talk about the generation before you?
And that's true. But Mike got out there in the court and showed who can guard him and who couldn't guard him in live action when he had an opportunity to do it. And apparently no one did it. And they had more defense back then than they have now, where like James Harden refuses to play defense. I know there was a video out a couple of years ago saying, no, you miscalculating what he does on defense. This guy has one of the highest ratings. I'm like, wait a minute. I'm watching the videos. I'm watching the guy in the games, man, and he just kind of refuses when someone else gets the ball. Just let him go by, kind of like Ole, the Deion Sanders of basketball. Just let him go on by, not making the tackle.
Who are you talking about?
James Harden.
Oh, I can't believe anybody would say he played defense.
There was a video out, and I think
there's times he missed the layup and wouldn't even run down court.
He just defense isn't his thing. He doesn't want to do it. But they was like, you talk too much about James Harden not playing defense, and they made a whole video about times that he had played defense, and they talked about his rating as a defender. And I was like, bro, I don't know. You can make edits, do what they want. I know what I watched during the course of a game, and this guy is allergic to defense. It's not even in his contract. He just says, basketball, half. You play offense. Well, defense, you have 4 of the teammates for that.
Like honestly, I cannot even say that he can't play defense.
He's too athletic.
But I will say he won't play defense. He doesn't try.
He refuses to do his job.
Right. He doesn't try.
What a mess. But God, man. Well, if we're starting off right now with the NBA, this early in the season, before Christmas even starts, because that's typically the unofficial start of the NBA season, the NBA must be on fire. And in a way it is because of the in-season tournament, but also because of the matchups that they had earlier this season anyhow. And then some of these young players coming through. Yeah. I'll tell you another thing. It's been what has been your thoughts on this season's rookie class? Bro, I'm not impressed.
Honestly, I haven't seen much or heard.
Exactly, that's the point. I haven't seen much or heard these guys.
Didn't Wemby, but the only two.
Wemby's doing his thing, man. He just on a team that we expected very little from. But he's killing it while he's out there. But damn, the rest of these guys, I was expecting, oh my God, like Brandon Miller, bro, come on.
Yeah. You actually have to search for some of those guys.
Yeah, you have to search for them, man. I was like, bro, are you serious, man? But, well, that's what I'm looking at right now. Hopefully, I can't call it a wall because the wall hasn't been built yet. You don't hit the freshman wall or the rookie wall.
Waiting for that second half surge.
Second half surge, man. And that's where they're going to hit that wall and do even less. I mean, I'm like, God, I'm still tripping over Johnny Davis having not panned out in Washington coming out of Wisconsin. I really was high on that guy. And I must have really been high watching that guy. Come on, man. But anyways, the NBA has it going on right now, man. If this is a precursor to what's going to happen pre-All-Star game and then even heated up after the All-Star game, this is going to be a hell of an NBA season.
I just wondered because of the Lakers, not because they won it, but because they played so hard to win it. Is that going to hamper them going forward? Because, eventually AD needs some time off. LeBron needs some time off.
Time management. Yeah.
We'll see.
They activated in-season tournament mode. That's what they did. So, hey, they need to have some gas left at the end of the day in order to get into the playoffs if they're on the cusp of being on the playoffs.
Like Anthony Davis is having good games back to back, dropping 40 and 20 or whatever, getting 32 the next night. That's not going to last.
Yeah, you're expecting the shoe to drop on him.
That's not just Anthony Davis. And if it does, I'll come back and apologize like I always do when I'm wrong. But I won't be. I know I won't be.
Yeah, AD, man, it's almost like waiting for the other shoe to drop when it comes down to his injuries and the history he's had in the NBA. There's never been a question about his talent. His talent's through the roof. I think the way he plays right now, I mean, is there any question he's a future Hall of Famer? Not just because he's playing on the Lakers, but because he's a talent the way he is. It's just that the consistency and being out there on the court and not getting hurt, that's been his issue his entire career now. But if he could just get one season the way he can get, not even the entire season in, probably just miss 10 games, whatever team he's on is going to dominate in the NBA.
Yeah, but he was healthy last year in the playoffs, and he was still up and down.
Throughout the season, was he healthy?
Good game, bad game, good game, bad game. He had missed some games, but come playoff time, he was healthy.
Well, I always figured that playing in the regular season, if you didn't miss as many games or if you had that consistency, it kind of transitions over to the playoffs with a little bit more intensity because the playoffs mean that much more. And so there isn't if you get hurt during the season, then you got to get right back into the groove. And you might fall out of the groove because you're hurt again. Then you got to get back in the groove. Well, before you know it, the playoffs are here. Now you got to put the pedal to the metal, and that's where that inconsistency comes from. I mean, on the surface. Right. But anyway, going into this next week of football in the NFL tonight, we already mentioned. Well, I mentioned the Raiders are playing against the Chargers. No Justin Herbert for the Chargers. Nothing at all after coming off of a 3-0 loss to the Vikings with the Raiders. It's just a game. They couldn't even flex out of the position. it's already made.
Right. I have zero interest in that game.
Zero. Not even a
gambling. There's nothing that I want to see. Sometimes I'll tune in to what seems to be a bad matchup because I want to see what the quarterback does, or there's a running back that has a string of 100-yard games in a row or whatever. This game has nothing.
Nope. And to look at Josh Jacobs is not playing in the game tonight either. So whatever other name you can conjure up from the two teams playing, he's not playing. So, man, I guess you might get a chance to see another either 5-3 or 3-0 or 10-7 game tonight. I don't know how anybody's going to score, but this is this time of the season, man. This is when the games are supposed to get hot and you're supposed to get ready to watch, but just not happening right now. But you know what? That's what starts it off. There's been a handful of games, even though there aren't huge games. I think there's some interesting games that are coming up this weekend. And I think Philadelphia is taking on Buffalo, or is it Philadelphia taking on Seattle? If for nothing else, they're going on the road to Seattle. Seattle played tough against San Francisco, and Geno Smith is going to play in this game. And I think just as important, going to that West Coast, you know how tough it can be going from East Coast, West Coast, and the Philadelphia Eagles possibly losing 3 in a row. That's going to be on the line.
And they had to go to Dallas last week, and so that's quite a bit of traveling. But this is a good test for them. Because if they win, you can say, well, they're kind of back, right? Seattle's a decent enough team. It's not like they're playing I can't even the Bears or Panthers. They beat them, all big deal. Everybody beats the Panthers.
Yeah.
But if they lose this game, now there's real problems in Philly.
Yep. And I wonder who's going to get the flack for it. Who's going to take the blame for all the problems all of a sudden that just came out of nowhere? Jalen Hurts. I mean, after the way he's played this season, I don't see how it really falls on him. But you know what? You got to get the blame just as much as you get the credit. They always want to talk about how much he
Quarterbacks
improved.
usually do. I mean,
Yeah.
look, they were giving Brock Purdy all kind of hell.
Oh, absolutely. And how
like
about
I
this
said,
Cam Newton talking nonsense about Brock Purdy, man?
It's Cam Newton, man.
Cam Newton, man. How the heck is he going to talk about anybody right now? And he still thinks that he could get into the NFL himself. He still thinks he's better than 32 other quarterbacks that are in the NFL right now. You know what? I might want to give him a
to
shot
call
at
these guys game managers. I mean, he should have managed that Super Bowl better.
Exactly. He should have not backed away from that fumble that happened that would have given his team an opportunity. He visibly, as big as he is, as tough as he used to have been, punked out on it, man. Come on, there's no other way to put it. Now, he doesn't like to hear it that way, but if anyone told you any way different, they'd be kissing your butt online.
But if you showed him a video of another quarterback doing that same thing, what would he say about it?
He'll be all over them, or he might think twice. You know what? I did the same damn thing. Let me just, you know what? He'll put it some way. He'll spin it, be a major spin doctor on that. But another game that's coming up as well. Buffalo and Dallas. Dallas is going to Buffalo, different environment. It's mid-December. The weather, the wind, we all know about how Buffalo is for visiting teams. Even if you're a cold weather team, that wind in Buffalo is serious. The Dallas Cowboys is as hot as they can get. Dak Prescott leading in touchdowns right now in the NFL. He's leading this Dallas Cowboys team. He showed last week that he seems to be legit, may have turned the corner. Does he do the same thing in Buffalo? But Buffalo's so inconsistent. That's the problem. Which Buffalo shows up in Buffalo?
But it does look like they're trending up, right?
Yeah.
So I don't think that'll be an easy game for Dallas unless Josh Allen has a terrible game and that defense is all over him. But I think Buffalo, they're going to give him a good run.
Now, once again, if Dak comes in, plays as steady as he's been playing and really takes over this game, and the Cowboys win yet another one, that's another feather in his cap in the regular season, but against a formidable team or a team. Is Buffalo still formidable based on what we thought before the season, what's happened during the season? They're kind of schizophrenic. They can beat the best of the best and they can lose to anybody.
That's true. But if Josh Allen has it rolling, it's hard to get him off the field.
It is. That's true. And then all the other elements, Dak Prescott, playing in Buffalo, the win, those things do matter, especially this late in the season. I mean, Dak's played in cold weather before, but Buffalo is just different when it comes not only to the cold weather, but the wind, the swirling wind. It reminds me of the Meadowlands back in the day when Bill Parcells used to open the doors when the opposing team was playing because it just brought in that breeze and the kickers used to miss the kick. But yeah, up there in Buffalo, it's going to be a tough game. But if the Cowboys win, and regardless of how they win, Dak is going to get the credit just as much as he's probably going to get the majority of the blame if they do lose, no matter how he plays.
Probably. But I don't know. I'm going to pick the Bills in that one.
Well, they are a 2-point favorite. I'm going to go with the Cowboys because they are trending up, and they've at least shown more consistency than Buffalo this season, as of late. Especially.
If it was in Dallas, I no doubt would pick the Cowboys. But since it's in Buffalo, I'm going with the Bills.
Well, I'm going to go with Dallas on this one. And trust me, I don't feel good going with Dallas, but I'll go with Dallas on this one. But there aren't that many big games being played this week. You have the Denver Broncos in Detroit. Now, Denver can continue to win and keep the Detroit Lions on their slide. They're going to Detroit to play them. Denver's been another team that's been playing much better lately as long as Sean Payton has kept his mouth closed. Russell Wilson putting up decent numbers, at least touchdown-wise. He doesn't even necessarily have to have the 250-yard game. He's been getting some things done with 120 yards, 130-yard games.
So Denver's been playing well, and the Lions haven't. So all things point to Denver. So for that reason, pick the Lions.
Oh yeah, that's what I was thinking. Well, I was going to pick Denver, but I'm going to stand in this Lions game. I'm going to stand right now because Jared Goff, even though I never really was on his bandwagon, still not on his bandwagon. I think he's done enough to where he does have the help. I think possibly the best duo running backs in the NFL between Montgomery and Gibbs. And I think he can get the job done at home. You should against this team. And you're the division leader. You have real playoff aspirations that are in your hands. Only you can lose it. So I think something being on the line like that is enough to be incentive for them to win at home.
Yeah, well, they have plenty of incentive. It's just whether or not they can play well enough. They have not been playing well the last few weeks.
So I think the biggest game this week, believe it or not, even though it's kind of lost a little bit of its luster, is here in Jacksonville on Sunday night. Baltimore coming to Jacksonville. You know, Trevor Lawrence still has the ankle injury. Lamar Jackson, being the star he is, coming to Jacksonville. And it's going to, people here are already on top of it, man. I love seeing it like this in Jacksonville. Even last week in a loss, they were just buzzing before it happened. But right now, they're just looking forward to this Baltimore game, and they're looking forward more to watching Lamar Jackson in person. I mean, I like when you can have a player like that. It's like Barry Sanders. He doesn't have to be in your team. You just want to see him.
I just wonder if they'll feel the same way after the game.
I'm thinking Baltimore should win that game.
Right. That's why I'm saying that.
Man,
if he comes in, runs for 85 and 2 scores and throws for 250 and 2 scores, and they're going to be like, man, I wanted to see him, but I didn't want to see that.
Yeah, but man, you can see a player of his magnitude on the field in person, man. That doesn't happen often because he's not a division foe. Man, you get you got to watch him and appreciate what he does. You just don't appreciate the outcome if it's not in your favor. But yeah, Jacksonville Jaguar fans are waiting for it. Trevor Lawrence, the ankle isn't an issue. He was making a lot of errant throws, in my opinion, from just watching when his ankle wasn't busted up. Now the ankle is roughed up, and we saw, if you watched anything last week, how he played in that game, and he was the ball doesn't just, you need all of that when you're throwing the ball, and it wasn't on target. He was overthrowing players and just wasn't himself. Obviously can't run, which is a big part of his game for people who have watched him at 6'6". He runs the ball fairly well, if not very well, for a guy that big. But I think they're going to have their problems with Baltimore, with those real playoff aspirations at hand, their own tough division to worry about. And the Jaguars, I think this is the time of year with the injuries in play and Travis Etienne averaging now under 4 yards a carry being an issue. Christian Kirk out for the season. Man, they got their issues, and I think they're going to lose this game.
Yeah, I agree.
Whew. Well, I mean, I think that it's a pretty exciting game, a pretty exciting week going into the NFL. I wouldn't even mention the Giants and Jets, even though they had the AFC and NFC player of the week, respectively, which is unexpected, but hell, I'll take it. But the Jets, let me see. The Jets are going to play the Dolphins. Well, it's one of those games the Dolphins are supposed to win. The Jets are under 500. They are playing in Miami, but they blew it against the Tennessee Titans. Why not do it against the Jets? It's a division game. And then the Giants traveling to New Orleans to play the Saints, and there's really not anything to say about the Saints.
We'll see. Can Tommy DeVito do it again?
You know what? Bro, no one saw this coming. Come on, I don't think anybody can say it. Even old Illinois fans came and say they saw Tommy DeVito turn out to be this dude.
You might want to check. You might want to check out Chase Daniel. He broke down film, and
I'm gonna have to get this. Is it a YouTube?
It might be clickbait, but he says Tommy DeVito is different.
Bro, I gotta see it. This is a YouTube video, right?
Yeah, it's on YouTube.
Yeah, I'm gonna go check him out, man, because you talk about this dude all the time. He's breaking the games down, and these are the kind of guys who
gives good insight.
He what?
He gives good insight. He breaks
That's what I'm saying. These are the kinds of guys who may turn out to be great coaches because maybe they didn't have the talent to be in the NFL, but a lot of our great coaches in the NFL weren't great players, or in other sports as well. They weren't great players, but they were guys who studied the game. Steve Spurrier held a freaking clipboard his entire NFL career for the most part, but it turned out to be a great college football coach. So yeah, man, I can see that. Chase Daniels, and I'm more than willing to listen to a quarterback, the one person who pretty much knows everything on a football field. And
again, he'll tell you the formation. He'll tell you what the read should be. He'll tell you in order 1, 2, 3, 4, whatever. And then he'll dissect the play and tell you if the quarterback made a good read, or he'll point out where he went wrong.
Now, does anybody comment on him trying to throw shade at him?
I don't check the comments. I just watched the video.
There's always
I never comment. I just watched the video.
That's cool. I mean, I could dig just watching the video too if you're going to learn something, because apparently he knows a lot more than anybody else who hasn't played on that level of football.
No, because when I'm just watching to get information, I'm not very critical of what I'm watching. It's when I'm watching things and someone says something out of pocket or something so outrageous, then then I gotta leave a comment.
Yeah. Well, I'm gonna check it out myself, man, with Chase Daniels because I watched him when he played. I mean, I never thought he was a spectacular player, but in college he was.
Wasn't
He was a good player in
he was
college.
backing for the Bears for a few years. He wasn't. He had to come in.
I mean, back when he was in Missouri, when he was playing college ball, he was all right. I mean, I think he took over a little bit after Brad Smith left Missouri. But anyways, yeah, I'll definitely watch something like that, man. To learn what this quarterback is thinking, because I remember even with John Gruden when he said that Jameis Winston before the draft was probably the most intelligent quarterback he had a chance to interact with, because he used to do his chalkboard deal when he would go with quarterbacks and they would point things out. He's like, this is the most intelligent quarterback that I've been around, period. And I thought about that. I was like, you know what? I liked Jameis Winston, even though he wasn't a game, and I thought he would be that kind of quarterback. And John Gruden kind of solidified that for me. And the opposite has happened.
You know what's funny? I was watching the Ravens game with my son a few weeks back, and there was like a 3rd and 9 or something, and Lamar Jackson threw it downfield incomplete. And when they showed the replay, we both said, "Why didn't he throw the wide banana?" He was wide open coming. Oh, you didn't see that episode?
Nah.
Oh man, that was the route that the wide receiver ran.
Wide banana.
I can't remember who the quarterback was. It might have been Andrew Luck. And they just kept saying, like, I don't remember the first part of the play call, but the last was wide banana. And Luck did what Lamar Jackson did, threw it downfield, but wide banana was wide open. And so we were both like, what, throw the ball to wide banana?
Bro, I don't know. You get these play calls and you wonder where the hell they come from. I mean, look, when I played semi-pro ball, I had ways of thinking about how plays should go. Like we had our red formation was the I. And the only reason why I can remember that because then he'll give them formation and then everything else afterwards, red eye. I would just think about red eye flight. That's it. Red eye. You know what I mean? Red eye, the I formation. That's it. And so, but anyway, that's how I would remember it. But anyway, yeah. These plays, man, in the NFL especially, because how many years have we heard from John Elway, Black 69 Razor, Black 69 Razor, or those NFL videos? Yeah, that's when it was simple. Now you have a whole novel before you even get the freaking snap.
Yeah.
So finally, can we go back to boxing again, since we know that AJ will be fighting Deontay Wilder allegedly on March 6th, or is it 9th of next year?
I don't know. It's too far away right now for me.
Yeah, exactly. Anything can happen because these fights they're having next week. Was it next week? The fights that those two are going to have when they do fight, I think this week or next week or the week after, those guys got to win those fights. Otto Wallen, he gave Tyson Fury issues, cut him up in the whole 9. And AJ, I'm always a little skeptical about him fighting anybody. This guy gets the deer in the headlights look on his face from anything that buzzes him. But then Deontay Wilder, at least you know what he's coming for. He keeps talking about bodies, man. That's what he's doing.
Honestly, this fight has lost a lot of luster for me.
Absolutely.
I'm not even excited for it. I'll watch it when it comes, if it happens in March, but I'm not even really excited for it.
Yeah, I mean, I'm pretty excited about it because it should happen. You know, years ago in the beginning, before everybody lost, I thought that AJ would beat him. And then AJ, skill-wise and everything else, I don't think he regressed. He just didn't continue to go up. He didn't have his trajectory continue upwards. And now we see the results of this with Wilder having one guy and AJ losing to anybody who wants to beat him that has talent, that kind of thing.
Yeah, but I'll tell you why I'm not excited, because the potential for a great fight, to me, doesn't exist. We've seen Wilder go through hell, give Fury everything he has.
A legendary fight.
And it just not being enough. You don't see Joshua in dogfights.
Nope.
Because he gets stopped.
And on top of that, I remember Usyk.
So he's either going to win a very boring decision where he's hugging like John Ruiz and moving.
Or Henry
Akinwande, right. Or he's going to get knocked out. It might be an exciting knockout, but I doubt it's a great fight.
Well, it'll be a great fight for people who like Wilder and don't necessarily like AJ, because it should be a 3rd round knockout and it should be pretty freaking brutal. and it should be freaking brutal. So people be like, oh man, you know what? I'm glad he won that fight. I doubt this thing goes 12. I mean, I'll look at the Vegas odds as the fight gets closer and see what those odds are looking at about it going 12. Get out of here. That fight's never going to see the light of day at number 12. They better be glad it goes to 7. But anyway, this is it for us this week. Man,
hey, hold on. I could be wrong. I saw Haney and Tank's trainer.
Yeah, I heard about it.
Make it happen, man. Make it happen.
Man, stop being businessmen. Be businessmen for the right reason. Make sure you're compensated properly, but don't start this A side, B side. I'm giving you 80%. You take 20%, knowing damn well no one's taking either or. Man, right. Get to the table.
If that happens, then you know it's not a serious offer.
Exactly. Make a bona fide offer. 60-40 smooth. Who am I to count other people's pockets? But if you're saying it's for the fans to respond, I mean, I think the fans will be happy too. You guys are going to be compensated because a boatload of people are going to put money in your pockets in order for you all to put it on. So, yeah, that's going to be a hell of a fight. No way. I don't think there's any way it could be a bad fight.
Yeah, Tank's the A side in that fight.
There's no question. And I said the other day with Haney, when Haney says, yeah, Tank is right now the face of boxing, even though I think it's still Canelo. But he says, people know me. I'm on my way up there. Well, he's admitting that he's not quite there yet. So Tank really is. So he's willing to acquiesce, I'm believing. But how much is he willing to acquiesce? He's done it in the past with Kambosos, and he's done it with Loma. So, yeah, he's a dog, man. He's ready to fight. And Tank is ready to fight, too. No one's a punk here.
I hope it happens, yeah.
Yep, let's wait and see and hope it happens, man, because there's so many guys in that whole group and weight class area, from Shakur all the way up to Tio. Now you talk about Devin Haney. I mean, everybody involved up there just ready to get it on. But anyway, that's Bias. I'm Trav, and the Sports Bag Bros will be heading into the weekend right now. Deuces.
Peace.